Paul and Askren, wow, whoever thought this would be a fight of 2021 to look forward to, right? All the great matches coming up, particularly in March. Great matches coming up in March. This is one of them. It's just one of them, and that compliment goes purely to Paul. He's the one that made it interesting. But Paul has some big problems in front of him. And the big problems that he's going to learn are just ones that he's never going to be able to learn listening to me or listening to everybody else. First off, nobody else has told him what I'm about to tell him. But secondly, it won't. You have to be in the experience. Till I'm blue in the face, until you're in that experience, you won't know. Look, if you're going to go into boxing, you are going to want, based on logic, to be boxing with the best guys that you can. As high up that scale, top 10 ranked guys, if you could find a world champion that you can trust, who isn't going to hurt and exploit you, but is going to move around with you, give you a good look, as a way of going into a boxing match, that just makes sense to do, right? Of course it does. That's what Paul is doing. The problem is that Ben Askren is not a boxer. He is a fighter. He is a competitor. He is a winner. He's not a boxer. So if you go in and you're training and preparing and getting yourself mentally and physically ready by guys who are giving you looks of the sweet science, guys that are doing shoulder rolls, heavy with the jab, followed by the cross, slip outside, dig to the body, pivot their feet, rinse and repeat. That's beautiful boxing. That is high-level, good boxing. You'll see that in the World Championships. You'll see that in the Olympic Games, so on and so forth, upwards through the ranks you go. That is not what Paul is going to see in the ring with Ben Askren. He is not going to see the feints that he's used to in training for. He's not going to see the placement of the foot inside or outside of the lead leg. Thus telling him, is he coming with a jab? Is he looking to set up a hook? He's not going to see those things. He's not going to see anything. He's going to get swarmed and he's going to get smothered like nobody he's training with. He's training, Paul, I'm talking, is training with guys who know how to box, because Paul thinks that he's getting ready to display boxing. He's going to find out when that match starts, I'm not in here with a boxer. I am now dealing with a fighter who is here to compete. There is levels of exhaustion that Paul will reach, should this reach the full 8 rounds, that you can never duplicate in practice, but it will be something that Ben Askren is very used to having done. That's the most meaningful difference. And Ben is going to throw shots, and they are going to be sloppy, and Ben's going to get into a clinch, and he's going to pull on the neck, and the referee's going to have to break it, and then Ben's going to go back and do it again, and Paul's all of a sudden not going to know where he is. He's just going to be too exhausted. And it's just one of these things that's very hard to duplicate, but I've seen it with my own eyes. Matt Lindland, come to mind. If you guys followed Matt Lindland's MMA career, okay, if you went back to the time Matt was fighting, then you remember the times that Matt had absolutely no hands. And anything, there's memes out there of Ronda Rousey shadow boxing, and they look ugly. Or there's memes out there of Ben Askren shadow boxing, and they look ugly. And possibly nobody more than Matt Horwich, my old teammate and friend. But Matt Lindland would come right into that same vein. You'd watch, go, man, does this guy know anything about boxing? Okay, I won't disagree with you based on what you saw, but I will share with you things that I saw that there was no cameras around, such as Matt at a boxing gym in Oregon called Grand Avenue. The top boxing gym in the Northwest, professional boxers there. And Matt going in and sparring with them. Matt did not know how to box. He did not know how to slip. He didn't know it was a couple jabs and dig to the body, then come back upstairs. He didn't know how to turn his shoulder over. He didn't know all of these things about boxing, even the basics. Matt did not know them. But Matt would go in and spar with top 25 guys. Remember a guy, Joe specifically, ranked number 25, heavyweight boxer, 210 pounds, lighter heavyweight, very good. Excellent for our area. And Matt would just go in there and swarm him. And it would just be nonstop punches, walking him down, pushing him into the ropes, pulling his neck every chance he got, come back, and all of a sudden Joe can't stand. Joe's the number 25 ranked heavyweight boxer in the world. Matt Lindland is a 167-pound Greco-Roman wrestler, and Matt broke him. It took him a while, and it was ugly, and it did not look like boxing. Who won that session? Matt Lindland, clearly. Who was the better boxer? Joe. Not even close. But that's one of the differences when you're dealing with these guys who are going to come out and brawl and compete. Ben understands a few things about boxing. He's not coming out to box. He's coming out to fight. And he's coming out to win. And he's a competitor. That's the guy that's going to get his hand raised. The belief that people think is going to be resolved in this battle is to determine who's a better boxer. It's not. It's not. They are contesting attitude. They are contesting grit. They are contesting conditioning under boxing rules. But Ben is not coming out to box. He's not spending his time right now learning how to box. Ben is going to show grit. Ben is going to show an understanding of competition through the boxing rules. But he's not coming to box.